Hi, welcome to my next video on Azure Cloud Concepts. Today we are going to see software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. We are going to see the concepts related to these three different topics along with the examples. There is another video I already published with respect to IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS cheat sheet, which is available in YouTube. After going through this video, please visit that video that will provide you lots of examples between these three SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. I will be providing the link in the description. Please make use of it. Let's start with what are the three important cloud service type. There are IaaS, the acronym for Infrastructure as a Service. SaaS, acronym for Software as a Service. And Platform as a Service, that's called as PaaS. So these three delivery models, namely IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, constitute any cloud. If you take Microsoft Azure services, you can classify them using IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So most of the cloud service providers where the delivery model can be categorized in any of these three subsections. If you take IaaS, which offers physical infra such as server, storage, network, and firewall. If you take platform as a service, which offers everything that is required to build an application or a product such as framework, operating system, database, and web servers. If you take software as a service, which offers software application or product whose services shall be readily useful for customer needs by configuring them. Out of these three, IaaS is physical infra, which is readily available for customers and highly scalable in nature. If you take platform as a service, which provide flexibility to customers to build their own application or product based upon their requirements. And if you take software as a service, which is using which you can build, you can make use of the application software very fast by simply configuring the application with the initial data, and then you can provide access to your employees of the organization based upon their access control. Thereby, you can use these three IaaS, SaaS, and PaaS. Now, let us start on IaaS. We'll get to know about what is infrastructure as a service. As we have seen in the previous slide, infrastructure as a service, it's a type of cloud computing service in which the cloud service provider offers virtualized computing resources over the internet, which includes virtual machines, storage, and networking. It is a delivery model good that is suitable for network architects or sysadmins. They are the people who need them for their company requirement, or they will meet their company requirement using this delivery model. They are responsible for setting up configuration and security controls as per company requirements. The resources include data storage, servers, networking, and virtualization. Let's see some good examples of IaaS. The first one is Amazon Web Services, which is a quickly and secure using which you can quickly and securely host your web application on the cloud. The second one is Amazon EC2. This is elastic computing module which is resizable based upon the capacity what you need. Third one is Azure Storage Accounts. It has a flexibility of creating a storage account of the size of your need and storing in the data in a matter of few minutes. The next one, Azure virtual machines. You can create virtual machines of your choice and host your web application or web services using Azure virtual machines in a matter of few minutes. There are plenty of examples are all provided. As I mentioned, you have to verify my other video which is published and available in YouTube. Now let's see what are the pros and cons associated with infrastructure as a service. The first one in terms of pros, scalability. It is highly scalable and it supports for dynamic workloads. Second one, cost effectiveness. Customer need not invest in expensive hardware and infrastructure, which results in lots of cost savings to the customer. Third one, greater performance. If you opted for infrastructure as a service, it provides high performance infrastructure that helps in improved application performance and increased availability. Fourth one, it is easy in terms of IT management because all the infrastructure resources are managed by the cloud service provider, which include hardware upgrades, OS upgrades, hardware failure in terms of replacing the server with a newer one, and it reduces the burden of the internal IT staffs. So these are the four major advantages of going for EaaS. Let's see the cons related to infrastructure as a service. First one, it's security. As the infrastructure is managed by third-party provider, businesses may have concerns about security, privacy, and data protection. Next one is cloud service provider monopoly. Some infra component or resources are specific to cloud service providers. If you switch over to a newer cloud service provider or to on-premises environment, it will be a challenge for the customer. Third one, dependency with the cloud service provider. Customers have limited control over the underlying infrastructure, affecting customization and the configuration option with respect to infrastructure. They need to rely on CSP to take care of that. The last one is related to complexity. Complex IT environment. In such situation, as businesses may have to integrate multiple systems and platforms which require highly skilled resources for an organization or company while going for multiple system integration. So these are the some of the cons related with infrastructure as a service. Now let's see what is platform as a service. Platform as a service, which is otherwise called as PaaS, it's a type of cloud computing. It's a kind of cloud computing service that to provide customers with a platform to develop, compile, run, and host the applications in the cloud. They need not have to worry about the underlying infrastructure or the services. They have to just build, compile, and run their programs. Developers need to manage their application data and the application resources or programs. PaaS includes hardware, operating system, middleware, database, and other necessary components need to be built and run the application. And it is typically delivered over the internet. As I mentioned earlier, PaaS including hardware, which means that it built over the infrastructure as a service. Customer can use platform as a service to build and deploy their application very quickly without having to worry about the cost and the complexity of managing and maintaining the underlying infrastructure. Now let's see some examples related to platform as a service. The first one, Azure SQL database, is wonderful relational database service available with Microsoft Azure, and you can make use of it based upon your need and the application requirements. Second one, Azure Synapse Analytics. If you are going for modernized analytical analysis of your data, This service will helpful for you to store large volume of data and helpful to you to perform analytics over the data. Third one, Azure Web Apps. You can quickly build your web apps, integrate with RESTful APIs, and then connect to any Azure SQL databases. And you can host this very quickly it into the Azure environment using Azure Web App Service. The last one is related to Azure App Service. It can be a mobile application or simple web application, or it can be a service that can be hosted it into cloud using Azure App Service. Now, let's see the pros and cons of platform as a service. Here, to start with, on the pros, easy deployment of web application is possible using platform as a service. Since the framework dependent libraries, tools which are required to host and deploy are in place, and so it is just a matter of develop, build, and deploy. The second advantage is faster deployments. It provides a platform for development and deployment of application, which reduces the time and the effort required for development and deployment. Third one, cost effectiveness. PaaS reduces the cost of hardware and infrastructure investment, allowing the business to focus on their core operations. And the last one, it's related to automatic update and maintenance of all underlying hardware and software upgrades, which are all done by the cloud service provider. And so, no infra management burden from the customer side. Platform as a service provides which handles maintenance and updates of the platform, freeing up the business to focus on the core operations or the development of the application. Now let's see the cons related to platform as a service. The first one is limited programming support. CSPs offer limited or popular programming language support only. You cannot tune or customize underlying infra or framework for any newer programming which are not supported by cloud service provider. Second one is with respect to migration issues. It is considered as a risk because you may be locked to a vendor, I mean the cloud service provider. Third one is limited control and customization. Platform as a service provide limited control and customization options, affecting the ability of the business to tailor their application to their specific needs. And finally, integration challenges. Integrating platform as a service with the existing systems and platforms may be challenging, lead to increased complexity and reduced efficiency. Now, let's see what is software as a service. As we have seen, SaaS stands for software as a service. It's a software delivery model in which software applications are hosted by third-party provider or application service provider and made it available to customer over the internet. So it's a kind of on-demand service. This delivery model allows customer to subscribe to the software on pay per use or subscription basis, which eliminates the need for them to manage and maintain the infrastructure, security, and updates to the software. There is no need to install any software in customer PC. Customer can access this application software through web browser or through an API without having to install any any software in the computer or in the servers. It's available for multiple end users since the application is hosted centrally and is accessible via internet browser. Multiple customer can access a centrally hosted software application and the data which is separated by means of multi-tenancy data model. It's for most part of the time. And it is considered as a cheaper solution than developing such kind of application software, host and maintain it, which will take lot of effort and time. All the computing resources are managed by the software application vendor, and so there is no headache on maintaining those resources from customer perspective. Now, let's see some examples of software as a service. Microsoft Office 365, which you are using, is centrally hosted in the Microsoft cloud service providing environment, and it's a productivity platform which is made available to many of the companies across the world. It's a finest example for software as a service. Second one, any accounting software that can be developed by a third party vendor and hosted it into the into cloud and made available to different companies to work with. So in order to access such accounting software, the customer need only the web browser. They need not require any software or library need to be installed in their client PC. Third one is related to ERP. In order to manage day-to-day business, you need an ERP. There are many ERP softwares which are from third-party provider are now available as a software as a service and hosted centrally. If your company require ERP services, you can go for a SaaS model and acquire the features or functionalities of the ERP software. The last one is any customer relationship management systems, which are all considered are hosted as a SaaS model that can be used for your company needs. So this example is limited. As I mentioned earlier, please refer on another video where I provided extensive list of examples for SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. Now let's see the pros and cons related to software as a service. Number one, universally accessible from any platform is a first advantage. You just need a browser in your computer to access the software as a service application software. There is no special software need to be installed in your computer. Second one, it allows for multi-tenancy, which means multiple companies host their data and then configure the SaaS model. And so they share a common infrastructure. And so it is cheaper in terms of having such much infrastructure which are shared across the companies. Third one, since it is centrally hosted and shared between the employee of an organization, it's an excellent platform for collaborative working. Fourth one, no infra management burden because application software vendor takes care of software updates, application feature update, bug fixes, and any infrastructure management. That ensures that no infra management from customer side. What customer has to do it just to configure the SaaS application with initial data and to provide access to their employees with the required access control. If you take on the con side, the first one is internet performance may dictate overall performance of the software service. Second one is related to portability and browser issues. This might lead to some of the application modules may not work as expected. It's an application software to act to fix those issues. And also you have to note one important thing. Limited customization also considered as another disadvantage while going for SaaS model. You need to accept what the application software vendor offers. Third disadvantage is compliance restrictions. Due to regulatory complaints, you cannot use all SaaS product. For example, the land of the law state that the data of the country should reside in a geographical location, or there are laws which might say that multi-tenancy model is not allowed. The fourth disadvantage is related to potential vendor lock-in. Customers may be locked with a vendor and migration from a vendor to another vendor of company choice is not simple and straightforward. And so these are all considered as disadvantages for software as a service. Now, put together infrastructure as a service, which is the bottommost one. If you look for infrastructure as a service, we are having all hardware component related stuff like hard disk, RAM, CPU, network, virtual machine, routers, and the firewalls. They put together consider as infrastructure as a service. On top of it, platform as service resides. That is, OS is installed on the infrastructure. We will be having framework, databases, web server, app server, integration servers are all there over and above the EAS. And so this entire pack is considered as platform as a service. So over and above the platform as a service, there is a software as a service that is from a third party vendor who produce their application software for various needs. Be it an ERP or CRM, they will have complete control over the application software which is installed on it. So it is customer responsibility to get the SaaS subscription, configure initial data, and provide access control to the employees of the organization. So the examples like invoicing or accounting or mail system softwares. So this is a one view of EAS, PaaS, and SaaS put together. Now, how can we make use of the cloud offering? On the left, if you see, you have infrastructure as a service. As I mentioned earlier, only the network architect or network specialist will be using it because all the hardware component like network, storage, and servers are the one which is offered by the cloud service provider. So it's a kind of metallic stuff given to the customer. They can readily start using the storage. They need not worry about maintaining those hardware. So we need an infra team and a system admin to take care of if you are going for EAS kind of delivery model. We need to maintain the software or applications. All hardware upgrades, server replacements, updates in the operating systems are all managed by the cloud service provider. So the second one is related to platform as a service. As I mentioned earlier, platform as a service sits over infrastructure as a service. So we need to maintain any software. We need not maintain any software or hardware like hardware maintenance, framework maintenance, or framework upgrade are all done by the cloud service provider. You can straight away write your program, compile it, test it, and host it if you have platform as a service. So it's a kind of fully managed development environment where you will get lots of collaboration tool using which you can make use of the developer to develop the application software whatever you intend to do. The last one is related to software as a service. If you are going for this delivery model, let's say a CRM software, what you have to do is you have to configure that CRM software and provide access to your employees based upon the the control what you want to have. Say for example, some features need to be made available to only managers and some features are all made available to all the users. So the end users will be accessing the SaaS model. Let's say CRM can be accessed by all the employees of your organization. So this one sits over infrastructure as well as the platform. We need not maintain any software or hardware. We just use the application software features and we store the data for the application and the application user will start using the features of the application software. So by going by software as a service, it saves you cost and it's more secure and reliable. And so this is how you can view the cloud offering in terms of delivery model. Now let's go to another topic related to what Azure offers. From right, if you are going for infrastructure as a service, you will be provided with the servers, storage, network, and other stuff. Assume you have an on-premises where you are having an application or a large database or a repository of document. If you want to save cost, you can go for infrastructure as a service model where you can acquire a large storage and migrate those documents or database directly into the infrastructure as a service. So this infrastructure as a service provide good amount of networking, security, system management, scalability as well as caching. And we have seen good amount of example with respect to the IaaS model. When you go for platform as a service, which is built over and above infrastructure as a service, it is available for the developers to start working on developing their application based upon the requirement. So you can build with the platform as a service. You can build an application. You can build a dashboard. You can develop a RESTful API service and do integration. So this is quite suitable for the developers to develop an application and host it. You need not worry about the hardware management. You need not worry about the operating system upgrade. You need not worry about the framework upgrades. So these are some of the examples related to platform as a service. And the last one, software as a service, normally used by the end users. So if you have acquired software as a service as a delivery model, say for example CRM software, you just start using it. There are two steps that you have to do it. One is configure the initial data for the software. Second one, you need to configure the application software based upon the roles and responsibilities of your employees. And so the software as a service from a third party vendor, which is made available to your company network, where your your company users can collaborate with the application software and effectively use it for any specific purpose, right from CRM to ERP to business, any other business applications. So some examples of the software as a service, which include Salesforce, Facebook, Google Apps. As I mentioned, for all the examples, there is another video available. Please refer to that. Now, let's see on who manages what. Though I provided very brief overview about who is managing what in the previous slides, this slide provides you an overall view about who is managing what. And we have seen network, storage, server, virtualization, OS, middleware, runtime, data, and applications. If you have it in on-premises, you need to take care of everything. You need to take care of your networking. If there is a fault in the storage, you have to replace it. If you want to upgrade the server, you have to do it. You need to take care of virtualization. You are responsible for upgrading operating system from one version to another version. If you are going for a newer middleware, you should have to do that. And you are responsible for bringing up new runtime environment, and you have to configure your applications with the required data. So at on-premises, everything is managed by you or the project team. If you are going for EOS model, the last four, that is networking, storage, server, virtualization, will be managed by the cloud service provider. In this particular case, it is Azure. And the rest of the stuff like OS, middleware, runtime, data, and application need to be taken care by the customer or the project team. If you are going for platform as a service, right from networking to runtime, it will be managed by the cloud service provider. The project team need to worry about the application and the data. That is, they can make use of all this, develop an application using any programming language with any specific OS and runtime environment. They can build the application, initialize the data, and then make it available on the cloud using PaaS delivery model. If you are going for a software as a service model, the entire stuff, right from application to networking, will be managed by the Azure. What you have to do is you have to get a subscription from the third party application software as a service provider service, and then configure it, and then provide access control to your employees and start accessing that software as a service using web browser. So this slide have provide you information about who manages what in terms of on-premises versus IaaS versus PaaS versus SaaS model. Now let's go for getting it into the another view about these three delivery model with respect to who wants it along with the use cases. I summarized briefly on the previous slide with respect to IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. Let's say additional points related with who wants it. In IaaS model, we have seen cloud service provider manages the network, storage, server, and virtualization. From the customer side, we have to manage the platform, OS, middleware, and runtime, and we have to manage our application and data. When you go for IaaS, you can use IaaS for migration of your workload, something like migrating your database server or your document management storage. You can use IaaS for test and development. You can use IaaS for storage, backup, and recovery. Similarly, for platform as a service, it sits over IaaS, and so cloud service manager manages everything on the infrastructure, and they will manage the middleware runtime. If there is any upgrade required in terms of the middleware or in runtime, they will do it. What we have to worry is we have to worry about or manage our application and data. And the potential use cases for PaaS include developing a framework or developing a web application, developing an analytics dashboard, or build a business intelligence model. If you take SaaS, the ownership fully lies with the cloud service provider in terms of infrastructure, platform, application, and data. We manages nothing. However, there are two things you have to take care. When you go for a SaaS subscription, initial setting up the data need to be done by you, and then provide access to your company's employees based upon the roles and responsibilities that need to be taken care by SaaS model. Some good examples are buying off the shelf application like CRM or ERP application or any accounting applications. Now, now let's see how to remember all them from applications to networking. If you take anything related to hardware like networking, storage, server, virtualization, which comes under infra, nothing but IaaS. Don't get confused with virtualization. Virtualization uses server, storage, and networking. So anything metallic should be infra or IaaS. Over and above, using this infra, we install OS, we install middleware, we install runtime. And so these three are for platform as a service. Over and above, we have application and data that is meant for SaaS. By this way, you can remember the terminology. And when you practice this over a period of time, you will get to know with specific examples. Thereby, you can clearly understand the concept behind IaaS, PaaS, and software as a service. With that, I close I close today's discussion. I hope this video is helpful to you. And as I mentioned earlier, there is another video available for IaaS, PaaS, SaaS with examples, and that is considered as a cheat sheet that you can use it for your exam preparation or for interview preparation. I will be providing the link in the description, so please make use of it. Once again, thank you very much. I hope this video is helpful to you for your interview or exam preparation. So this is not the end of my series of videos on Microsoft Azure. We will be continuing our discussion with a newer topic sometime tomorrow with a new topic. Till then, stay safe and bye now.